Hey everyone, and welcome to the No DQ live recap of Friday Night Smackdown for March 13th, 2020. Tonight's show was supposed to be in my town, Detroit, Michigan. However, WWE canceled the event on Thursday, and it was announced that tonight's SmackDown would take place at the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. There were no fans in attendance due to the coronavirus situation. Triple H did the introduction to the show. He introduced the fans to the Performance Center, explained what the Performance Center is all about. He showed video clips and photos, talked about how the people that went through the Performance Center to train and become WWE superstars are returning to where they got started to do what they always do, and that's put smiles on people's faces. We had Michael Cole do the preview for the show, talk about all the segments, and he said that there would be several guest commentators. One of those commentators, the first commentator of the evening to join Michael Cole, was Triple H. And Tony H with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Tony. He says Triple H was the best part of the show. Triple H was very entertaining, and we'll talk about Triple H. I have a lot of things to say. Triple H was all over this show. TJS with a $2 super chat. Thank you, TJS, the attitude of NoDQ.com. He says, serious question. WrestleMania from the PC, perhaps? I would be surprised if that happens. I think it's more likely WWE postpones WrestleMania in Tampa instead of doing that, but anything's possible. This show was total bizarro land. I never would have predicted this show that we got tonight a week ago. So we'll just have to wait and see. Mo Camera with a $2.79 super chat. Thank you, Mo. Much appreciated. He says, the coronavirus is bad karma for burying the Fiend. Yeah, I don't know about that one because everyone's being affected by the coronavirus, so you could say that about just about anybody. But that's Mo Camera for you, everybody. And now he sent another $2.79 super chat saying, the coronavirus came from the Fiend. He changes people. That would be quite the storyline if the Fiend was responsible for the coronavirus. But as it turns out, there was no mention of the coronavirus, to my knowledge, on the entire show. I think Michael Cole maybe said at one point it was an unfortunate incident, but I don't believe WWE mentioned coronavirus, which means to Vince McMahon, the coronavirus is WCW, because back in the day, Vince would not want to mention the competition until they really had to. And I guess once the coronavirus cancels WrestleMania, WWE will have no choice but to mention the enemy, the coronavirus. And then, of course, WWE never mentioned TNA, and TNA never really became a threat. So, as far as Vince is concerned, coronavirus hasn't canceled WrestleMania, so coronavirus doesn't get the satisfaction of being mentioned on WWE television. Vince no-sold it. Nelson Moreno with a $2 super chat says, why not replace this year's SummerSlam with WrestleMania? Well, first of all, I don't think WWE is going to change SummerSlam to WrestleMania, and I don't think WWE is going to cancel SummerSlam. What I think is the most likely scenario, and anything can happen, like I said, this is just speculation, but I feel like WrestleMania will take place in a couple of months, maybe May, more likely June or July, in Tampa, and I know that's going to suck for fans because of the humidity. But I feel like it's going to happen in a couple of months. WrestleMania will take place. It will not be completely canceled. And then they'll just have to do SummerSlam right away as the follow-up to SummerSlam. And that, of course, can go in a different direction completely. But if I had to make a prediction right now, I think that's what's going to happen. Let's talk about the first match/segment of the show. We had Bayley and Sasha Banks coming out. They were jokingly playing to the empty crowd there at the Performance Center. Sasha and Bayley cut a promo. Sasha said it doesn't matter if there are 0 fans. They are the faces of SmackDown no matter how many people are there. And they wanted to know, where's Paige? Because Paige was supposed to be on this show. Triple H said that there were travel issues. And apparently, the real incident with Paige was that she had travel issues due to the coronavirus, and that's why she was not on the show. Nicholas Easy with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, Triple H was so entertaining. Triple H was on fire. Triple H had his game on, so to speak, with this show. And Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you guys for the super chats. Says, will Undertaker or Goldberg show up at the PC? Well, Goldberg is confirmed for next week's SmackDown. It will be a contract signing. That's right. 2 in 1 week. How lucky are we? We got Undertaker and AJ Styles on Raw. And then next week, Goldberg and Roman Reigns in a contract signing. Woo! I'm stoked, man. Mr. Dark Fantasy with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Dark Fantasy. He says, supposed to travel to Tampa in a few weeks for WrestleMania. The selfish side of me hopes it doesn't get canceled, but I know that safety comes first. I would be shocked if WrestleMania does not get canceled and goes on as scheduled on April 5th. Very, very surprised. The fact that WWE could not even have a small crowd at the Performance Center speaks volumes about the situation. How are they going to get 70,000 people into that stadium when they cannot even get one fan into the Performance Center for SmackDown? Just saying. Now, maybe there'll be a miracle. Maybe there'll be a vaccine announced, which doesn't sound like there's any real possibility of that because the estimates are like 6 months to a year, which we'll see if it takes that long. But the bottom line is nobody knows when there'll be a vaccine and when they'll be able to contain the virus. I highly doubt that we're going to see much of an improvement in 1 week. So most likely, if WWE doesn't cancel, which I don't think they're going to, I think they're gonna let Tampa be the bad guys and cancel the show. Next Thursday, we'll probably have the announcement that WrestleMania will not be taking place on April 5th in Tampa. The Comic Genius YouTube with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, coronavirus got the Chris Benoit treatment tonight. Pretty much. I think that's quite accurate there. No sold by Vince because coronavirus is the evil enemy. So anyways, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross came out to confront Bayley and Sasha, and a challenge was issued. We had a tag team match with Triple H on commentary, talking about how it's a different vibe for the wrestlers because there's no crowd there. There's no crowd to get you pumped up and get you motivated. So you got to do it on your own. Triple H was having fun. He was mocking Vince's commentary from the 1990s. This is quite a debacle. And then Sasha Banks was mocking the idea of no crowd there, and she's beating down on Nikki Cross, and she's like, I don't hear anybody. Where are your fans? And Triple H also made fun of Mauro Ranallo, saying that Triple H, needs to be fed some pop culture references. Nikki was trying to get the empty arena behind her and doing all the stomping on the mat and the clapping and all that stuff, which was pretty funny. I mean, they were basically just doing the same match that they would do on television with one difference. So during the commercial break, they stopped wrestling. Now, people are asking, how can this happen? For some people, they actually get the entire live feed of SmackDown without commercials. Some people have satellite, and there are people that get it totally uninterrupted. Easy for me to say. So yeah, during that commercial break, the ladies just stopped wrestling, and the video spread around social media and the internet, and Alexa Bliss was not happy about this, saying it's rude to post that video when people just need to enjoy the show. They're just trying to entertain people. And she deleted those tweets, but you can check them out over on NoDQ.com if you're curious, and the video as well. When we got back from commercial break, Asuka came out to interfere. So I'm guessing this may set up some sort of women's tag team title match. Due to the interference, the bad gals won. Nikki Cross tapped out to the bank statement. And then Triple H was ready to sign off on commentary. He admitted he's not very good at commentary, but then he had to take a crack at Michael Cole and say that a lot of people say that Michael Cole is not very good at commentary. That was pretty funny. Again, like some of the comments mentioned earlier, Triple H arguably the best part of this show. Although there was one part that I liked even better, and Mike B brings it up with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Mike B. He says, Michael Cole getting beat up was easily the most entertaining part of the show. I'll just mention that right now. I'll skip to that and then go to the next segment. They recapped WWE Backstage with the announcement that Rob Gronkowski is close to signing with WWE, and apparently he's already signed, but on TV and kayfabe, it's not official yet. And how about that? Ryan Satin from Pro Wrestling Sheet getting mentioned on SmackDown. You got Dave Meltzer mentioned on Dynamite. Ryan Satin mentioned on SmackDown. Crazy world we're living in here in 2020, that's for sure. We had Mojo Rawley there on commentary with Michael Cole talking about Rob Gronkowski, and Mojo said he will be there next week on the show. And Triple H was also there, and Michael Cole was trying to mess around with Mojo's headset, and then Mojo just started thrashing on Michael Cole in, a playful manner, and Triple H joined in, and it was great. Michael Cole getting beat up here. They were just playing around, but to me, this was the funniest, most entertaining thing that Mojo Rawley has ever done in WWE. So I want to see more stuff like this. He was acting like his old self, and it was fun. It was entertaining. Hey, as Curtis Butler mentioned, No DQ did get mentioned on Forbes once, so that's something, I guess. Josh Mansfield with a $5 super chat says, and thank you for this, Josh. He says, this virus sucks, and we all have to make sacrifices, even WWE, but they are doing what they can for us. Stay safe, Mary, health of the sick, pray for us, says Josh Mansfield. And TR Sega with a $2 super chat says, Rift, no sell the con signings, no satisfaction, pal. Thank you for that. I do appreciate it. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but maybe I'm just tired and I'm not putting two and two together. We had Michael Cole introduce Roman Reigns, the big dog, for a in-ring interview. No boos for Roman Reigns. So there you go. Roman Reigns, the most positive crowd reaction in his career because not one single boo for the big dog. He said it does feel weird to be at the Performance Center, but it's also cool at the same time. He said it feels good to be back in the main event at WrestleMania. And yes, there are the critics, but he's been dealing with them his whole career. And he's been busting his ass everywhere. Despite all the critics, he's there 24/7. And yes, Goldberg is a great competitor. However, Roman brings up that Goldberg is a part-timer, and that's not what WWE needs. He does WWE nonstop, and he vows to win the WWE Universal Championship at WrestleMania. And hopefully for Roman, he'll have a WrestleMania to face Goldberg at. I mean, throughout this show, WWE was acting like WrestleMania is happening. They did not, I don't believe they said April 5th, but WrestleMania, they're still building towards it. And until WrestleMania is canceled, I guess that's going to be the direction. Mike B with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Mike B. I appreciate it. He says, not a Gronk fan at all. Will he be a heel or a face in your opinion? I would guess a face. I just don't see a celebrity newcomer being a heel with his lack of experience. Got to be a face. I don't know what else he could do. I mean, if he got really good in a short period of time and pulled a Kurt Angle where he just understands the business really well, maybe you could turn him heel. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Psycho. He says, if Roman Reigns is the big dog, who is the big cat? Ernie Ladd. But he has passed away. Who would be the new big cat? That remains to be seen. I guess Natalya. She'd be the big cat, although I don't know if that's an appropriate thing to say, because people will just automatically assume weight if you call somebody the big cat. So, but Natalya likes cats. That's why I brought up her name. So nothing to do with weight. Who would be the big cat of WWE? Who has the most cat-like quality in WWE? Let me know in the chat room. Back in the day, Ernest Miller was the cat, and we had the cat Stacey Carter. But I don't know who would be the big cat of today's era. Moving on here, we had Cesaro backstage introducing Sami Zayn. Caleb Braxton was there. However, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura were not the scheduled guests, so they ended up being bumped from the segment. Zayn was like, fine, whatever. They left to go celebrate, and then Caleb Braxton introduced the real guest, Jeff Hardy. Hardy said he's hungry, he's healthy, he has a lot more to do in WWE. He's happy to be back. But then Corbin came in and said not everyone is happy he's back. Corbin said he keeps peasants like Jeff Hardy in place. And then Corbin wanted to know, what is Jeff Hardy's plan? Is Jeff Hardy going to recite the alphabet backwards? Is Hardy going to walk in a straight line? Hardy said what he's going to do is he's going to wrestle Baron Corbin. And then Elias came in. Elias started to strum his guitar, and that's when Baron Corbin just decided to hell with this and took off. By the way, Samoa Joe did it first. The whole make fun of Jeff Hardy for his arrests. Boston Punk with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Boston Punk. He says, Gronk. That's all. Thank you, Boston Punk. Mo Camera with a $14 super chat. Gotta love Mo Camera, everybody. Mo Camera says, is Vince mentally ill? Why does he keep pushing this guy? I think he's talking about Roman Reigns. Mo Camera says, he sucks, he's boring, he doesn't move numbers, he's a mediocre at best and a sea of great performers. Well, I'm not sure if you're talking about Reigns, but I'm assuming you're talking about Reigns, and people like Roman Reigns. Regardless of what you or I think, he does have his fans. Harold Warren with a $15 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Harold. I appreciate it, and thank you too, Mo Camera. Harold says, worst comes to worst, WrestleMania 36 either to different date or empty arena. I just don't see WWE doing it in an empty arena. That would be really awkward, I think. But again, I think all options will be on the table. WWE will consider, maybe they will. Maybe they will do an empty arena. Maybe Vince will be stubborn and say, we're doing the show on April 5th. If no fans allowed, then so be it. I guess we get 8 hours of matches with no crowd. We'll see. DJ Whitey with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, DJ. He says, why would they do a major return here with the empty arena? Couldn't they have waited for a crowd to bring Hardy back? I guess WWE just wanted to not deviate from the script too much, and the plans were set in motion for Jeff to return, so they brought him back. And we'll talk more about Jeff Hardy here in a few minutes. And thank you, DJ. I appreciate it. Triple H came back to commentary, even though he had said he was leaving earlier. And he had a funny line here. So there was a report that Triple H was possibly quietly demoted with his WWE executive job. So Triple H, of course, referenced that rumor, saying that he's the only guy that can be demoted and get busier. We had a recap of the Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak match from Elimination Chamber. Backstage at Full Sail, not Full Sail, Performance Center. Backstage at Performance Center, Bryan approached Gulak and said, he's still willing to learn. Is Drew still willing to teach him? Then we had Sami Zayn and his crew come back in, and Zayn said Bryan is a shell of his former self, and brought up, while Bryan is wrestling nobodies like Drew, he's defeating Braun Strowman, pinning Braun Strowman for the Intercontinental Championship. Cesaro was basically there as Zayn's muscle, and that's when a challenge was issued and a match was set up between Daniel Bryan and Cesaro. The Holiday, Christopher Mace with a $2 super chat says, you beat 205 Live again, Team NXT won. Thank you for that, Christopher Mace. I appreciate it. I figured you meant one. He spelled it WPN. We had a replay. That's right, not a recap, but an actual replay of the entire Tag Team Elimination Chamber match from this past Sunday. We briefly went back to Triple H and Michael Cole, and then we had the rest of the match. I get it. Under the circumstances here, WWE needed to fill time, and maybe a lot of guys were not able to make the show because of the travel situation, not just Paige. And also, historically, when wrestling companies replay pay-per-view matches, they tend to do good TV ratings. Back in the day, Halloween Havoc, they replayed Goldberg and DDP, and that was the last time, trivia note here, the last time that WCW Nitro beat Raw in the ratings. So they replayed the match, and then after the match was over, we had Miz and Morrison back in the ring at Performance Center. They bragged about their victory. Morrison said if there's any team that doesn't think they are the greatest team of the 21st century, speak now. Nobody came out. Again, probably a bunch of guys were not able to make the show. And that was that. Just a quick segment here with Miz and Morrison in the ring talking about their victory. Then we had Daniel Bryan going up against Cesaro. Drew Gulak came out with Bryan and started doing the yes chants, but Bryan's like, well, there's nobody here. But then Gulak talked him into it, and Bryan started doing the yes for the empty arena. And Triple H, another funny moment. Triple H was filming Michael Cole with the camera, taking over, basically because they're so short-staffed. Triple H was doing multiple jobs, including using the camera to film Michael Cole. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, is Triple H a better commentator than Corey Graves? This was 1 week. Triple H was entertaining. I don't know if I would want to see Triple H doing commentary on a weekly basis. But yeah, Triple H took the situation and made the most of it. So props to Triple H for giving us some very entertaining moments on this show. We had the match between Bryan and Cesaro. And they actually showed footage from the commercial break. And Michael Cole was mentioning this, made it clear this action happened during the commercial break. I guess maybe as a reference to earlier when the women stopped wrestling during the match and that got all over social media. Cole made a really big deal out of it, just the way he was saying it. And we had Sami Zayn on commentary for the match. Bryan picked up the victory, was immediately attacked by Nakamura. Gulak made the save, but he got overwhelmed, and then Bryan did a suicide dive to the outside, and the heels finally retreated. Triple H messed around with Michael Cole some more and said that the makeup lady did a terrible job on Cole. Cole was the butt end of all the jokes tonight, which, again, made for a very entertaining show, I will say that. So Michael Cole, got to give props to him, too, being a team player here, taking all the blows. We had Jeff Hardy in his first match back since, last March or April? It's been a while. Jeff Hardy versus Baron Corbin. Elias was on commentary. And then Elias started playing his guitar over by the announce desk. Corbin got distracted. Jeff Hardy hit the Twist of Fury. I guess it's not the Twist of Fate anymore. And then hit the Swanton Bomb to pick up the victory in his first match back. We then had the final segment of the evening, which was a John Cena interview with Michael Cole. Cena came into the ring and talked about WrestleMania 30, says that Bray Wyatt is blaming his own failure on John Cena. And Cena said, this is nothing new. People have been blaming him for years. But the truth is, according to Cena, Bray Wyatt got lazy and gave up. Cena said Bray Wyatt's biggest enemy is himself. And then Cena talked about how he's had a lot of setbacks in WWE. He lost to The Miz. He lost to The Rock, RVD, Brock Lesnar, CM Punk. We got a CM Punk name drop And if this was in front of a crowd, you know we would have gotten the CM Punk chance. And Cena even mentioned buying a ticket to WrestleMania only to get squashed by The Undertaker. Now, the difference between Wyatt and Cena is that, unlike Wyatt, Cena never blamed anybody. He adapted, he overcame, and he got his ass back into the fight. Cena talked about how he wants to invest in people that earn the opportunity. And the only reason he took Bray Wyatt's challenge was so he could take Wyatt out of the equation and end the existence of the most overhyped and overprivileged star in WWE existence. This led to Bray Wyatt in the Mr. Rogers outfit coming into the ring to confront Cena. And the game is on 100 with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, Cena gets blamed for talent losing all these years. We hear it all the time. Never ends. That is true. People say Cena's burying talent when at the end of the day, if you're going to blame somebody, blame the guy who's writing the story. And that's, Vinnie Mac himself. So anyways, Bray said that John Cena is the one that's sick. And that John Cena only cares about John Cena. Wyatt talked about how after WrestleMania, he finally stopped fighting the voices and started listening to them. And that, according to Wyatt, is what led to the Funhouse, the Firefly Funhouse. Wyatt said that The Fiend put him back together. And at WrestleMania, it is going to be a slaughter. Cena just doesn't know it. And he finished the promo and finished this episode of SmackDown by saying, "Let me in, John." And then he did his laughing, the screen went to black, and that was the end. Very unique show. I'm not even sure I can give a letter grade to this SmackDown because of the circumstances, but I mean, it no doubt was one of the weirdest SmackDowns of all time, maybe the weirdest SmackDown of all time. I'll remember it. I mean, this was a very memorable show, and this was unprecedented, and I think WWE did the best they could under the circumstances. I wish WWE could get a crowd in there in the Performance Center, but it looks like for the time being they cannot even do that. That would be a really interesting vibe if they had to run Performance Center. At least if they had a crowd, I think they could squeak by for a couple of months until the coronavirus situation dies down. But I mean, I was entertained by the show, and it might be rough though if we get 2 months of empty arena TV shows. It might get a little brutal, and I am concerned about Raw being a 3-hour show. We're probably gonna get a replay of the women's match from Elimination Chamber. Would not shock me. And we'll see what happens. I guess, like with the coronavirus, we got to take this day by day because things are always changing, and who knows what's in store for us next week. It is an interesting time, that's for sure. And DJ Whitey with a $10 super chat. Thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it. He says, so let me get this right, Aaron, because I haven't seen SML yet. WWE basically had the talent to do the show and sticking to the script as if they were live with a crowd, but the arena was empty? Correct. There was no arena, crowd, nobody in the building. You just had the crew. That was pretty much it, the performers and the crew. And Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, is Rambling Rabbit more over than Rift Aronson? Yes, because unlike Rift Aronson, Rambling Rabbit has come back from the dead on more than one occasion. And TR Sega with a $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, Rift, do you agree with Cena's narrative? Well, it's not true about Wyatt at all. We all know Bray Wyatt works his ass off, and the guy has been booked very poorly over the years, despite his character being one of the most unique personalities in WWE. I mean, they've done a lot of things booking-wise to hurt him. So that I would disagree with for sure, but in John Cena's defense, he's done everything the company has asked of him, and it's hard to argue that anybody has worked more harder than John Cena. Mike B with a $2 super chat says, Yowie wowie, let me in. Let me in. Guess that's just a little tribute to Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, from Mike B. Thank you for that. I'm curious to see what happens next, but again, I don't know what WWE should do. They're in a very tough spot. AEW's in a tough spot, so next Wednesday, they're not going to be in Rochester, New York. They're in Jacksonville, Florida, although that might not even happen now. There's a lot of stuff changing, not just on a daily basis, but on an hourly basis. It's crazy, man. No DQ traffic has definitely been up for this, as you would expect. And I don't know what's going to happen with Dynamite. Where are they going to record their show? Are they going to have any fans in the arena or the building, wherever they're doing it? Mike D with the $2 super chat says, is Steve Austin still going to be on Raw this Monday? Well, he was advertised, so he was advertised on this show tonight. If they were pulling him, I don't think he would have been advertised. DJ Whitey with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, DJ. Says, I don't think it'll last long, Aaron, do you? Watching on TV, are we supposed to imagine or simulate in my mind a crowd reaction? Just postpone it. I mean, my honest opinion is I think this coronavirus thing is overblown and there's hysteria, but at the same time, people have the attitude, better to be safe than sorry, which I totally understand. And it's good to err on the side of caution. It's just unfortunate because it's affecting a lot of people financially, but at the end of the day, people's lives should be more important than money. But there's lots of opinions on it, and it's a pretty big issue in the United States and the world. As far as postponing WWE television goes, I mean, there's been the argument that maybe WWE should do an off-season, but at the same time, WWE, AEW, they have TV contracts. Maybe the attitude is we're just going to try to hold off and see if the coronavirus situation winds down a little bit and they can get back to normal sooner than later. It's such a bizarre situation, and again, it's really unprecedented. We've never been through something like this before. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. How come you don't have a Patreon account? Never felt the need to, honestly. Have other revenue streams. Ken terminated by Google with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Ken. He says, Rift, can you imagine Steve Austin being in the Performance Center if Raw took place there? By the way, get ready for your week of 2 lovely contract signings. Well, thank you very much for that, Ken, regarding the contract signings. And sure, I can imagine Steve Austin being there. Steve Austin, I'm sure, will do whatever he can to help. And if Steve Austin being there, even if it's at the PC, brings in viewers, then Steve Austin will be happy to help. Psycho Jet Black says, at least know what chance. That is true. And again, I going back to the coronavirus real quick, I know we're not going to really talk about politics here, and I guess this does kind of get into politics a little bit, but man, people at the grocery stores, like, it blows my mind how people act when they panic. Like, it scares me. It honestly scares me, guys. Like, imagine if thousands of people die in the United States, what is going to happen? Is there going to be martial law? Like, the fact that it's gotten this crazy and we've only had a couple of people, what was it, like a couple of dozen people that have died from this? I mean, that's scary. Like, the panic is real. And that frightens me more than the virus, to be totally honest with you guys. But again, we're going beyond talking about wrestling here. I do wish everybody well, and just be careful. You know, have good hygiene and take care of yourself and just be vigilant. But don't panic. That's my opinion on that, and that's the last I'm going to say about it for now. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. And Ratnick with a $2 super chat says, I hope every WrestleMania match has a contract signing. Hey, they're going to need time to fill, so would not shock me. Would not shock me if Brock and Drew have a contract signing. Remember, I said there would at least be one more last week, maybe 2. So, we'll see. Anyways, guys, I'm heading out for the night. Thank you all again. Be safe. Take care. Enjoy your weekend best you can under the circumstances. And I will see you guys next time.